My fall 2019 semester was pretty solid. Fourth semester at BYU Idaho, going right off of IBC, started a podcast, was posting on Instagram every day, and it was good. I was also with probably the best roommate situation I've ever had. You had Tim, Aaron, Sam, all my really good friends, super solid, super exciting. I did get a little comfortable at times though throughout this semester. We're going to talk more about that and my three struggles overall for the semester, which were bridling my passions, boundaries, and optimizing for overall battery life of my life and myself, self care and stuff. So, should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun. As always, if the podcast is helpful for you with navigating college, building your best life, definitely follow. Definitely going to have a lot more good stuff coming very soon. So, we'll just jump right into it. This is one of the biggest things I've learned in my life up to this point is just like you need to be able to hold yourself back at times so you can do things that you really want to do and that are really going to help you out in the long run. Today I could have played some video games or done some other stuff, but I'm like, bro, I need to get this podcast episode done because in 6 hours I'm going to have other homework and stuff on my mind and a quiz, and I just need to do it when my brain is fresh and clear and just super, ready to go, able to laser focus on this kind of thing. So I'm just going for it now. When I was living with Tim and Aaron and Sam, there's multiple times I'd come back and we'd all play Smash Bros together. I'd walk in the apartment and it'd be like 1 or 2 o'clock p.m. So plenty of time to do homework. I'd walk by and I'd see him playing. I'm like, let's play a game. And we'd play and play and play, and then we jump online and play more, and then we're like, it's like 6 or 7 o'clock, haven't even eaten dinner, and then they leave, and I keep playing because I was just like so into it and just loving the vibe. The vibe was great. Just we all really cared about each other. Our apartment was just super calm and clean and peaceful, and sometimes we made dinner for each other, and it was just great. But it was really easy to get sucked in that comfort. And I have this analogy I really love sharing. Basically, the idea of like it being like a hot tub, where it's really comforting, really nice and soothing, but you also cannot spend all of your time in a hot tub. You have to get out, you have to do other stuff, or else you're just gonna get crusty and soft and whatever. So it happened multiple times where I would be playing video games decently late, playing Smash Bros. And it was kind of like a badge of honor a little bit. It was kind of weird. It was like I probably should have gone off. Obviously, I should have gone off earlier, but sometimes I just like wanted to play and just keep playing, and I was having a good time. I wasn't recording it, I wasn't streaming it. There was no like long-term benefit of this. It's interesting because I think about my time playing video games, and although it has increased my dexterity to a great point and stuff, I don't really play them as much anymore. It makes me think of all those hours that are now gone, and it's like, I gotta see how I can, you know, leverage that. And ultimately, it kind of comes back to building relationships and making a difference, which I did with the YouTube channel back in the day. But I don't know, it's just interesting stuff to think about. Because like the fact of the matter was I had homework. I had homework to do. I was taking like 6 classes. I was taking a web programming class. I was taking a teaching seminary class. I was taking email marketing. I was taking military physical fitness. I was taking a couple other classes that I can't remember off the top of my head right now. I think freedom and civil society was another one. Yeah, because that was the first semester I had my scooter, and I literally go from military physical fitness to freedom and civil society, and I had to pedal really fast and stuff to make it in time. But I'd say bridling your passion's like one of the biggest ones. And it's the coolest thing that I've learned is there's a scripture in the Book of Mormon that just talks about if you bridle your passions, you'll be filled with love. And it's a father's counsel to his one of his sons. And it's just a scripture I really like because it's like, yeah, if you're able to hold yourself back, you're going to have more love, not less love. And it's interesting because you need to have more love, you give more love. But in some cases, it helps to just hold yourself back. There's times I've wanted to tell somebody, hey, you should do this, you should try this. And sometimes people are ready for that kind of stuff, and sometimes they're just not. So you need to listen to them, and you have to bridle yourself back, hold yourself back. And, although I was pretty good at this in this particular semester, I think I could have done a lot better at not, you know, going straight, making a beeline for Smash Bros. Because it was so easy to do. It was like playing, you hear the music, you grab a controller. In seconds, I'm playing. Whereas with homework, it takes a little longer to get in the flow state and stuff, and it's kind of boring, sometimes challenging, not as exciting. So yeah, that's the first thing though. Bridling your passions. I kind of struggle with that, but I've gotten a lot better though. Number two is boundaries. This goes right along with bridling your passions. A lot of it just kind of comes down to being able to block yourself off when you need to block yourself off. Like you think of like the president of the United States or somebody that's making a lot of high level decisions. Sometimes they need their own like peace and quiet. I know Elon Musk sometimes like literally works in the same room as his employees and he's able to do that. I personally need to have my space if I want to do like some real high level thinking, or unless I'm like talking with somebody about that. I just need to have my own peace and quiet. And I didn't really create boundaries for that. I think if I had, set aside time, I was basically doing the stuff to get by on the podcast. Like, here's an episode. Let me make a YouTube channel. Let me make an Instagram. Just kind of the basic stuff. But I think if I'd spend like an hour every week just high level thinking, planning for the podcast, when I got home in 2020, probably could have built it up a ton. Like, it is just very possible because the more I figure out myself and learn about my thinking ability, it's like, holy cow, it's like actually insane. You just got to give yourself time, you know, time to do that. And so, like, it's funny. I listened to one of the old episodes from back in the day, the Battery of Life episode. And we'll get into that later in this episode, but just like how I said in that episode, oh yeah, I pulled an all nighter and now that's never going to happen because I wrote about it and I wrote it down and I tracked it. But like, I've had plenty of all nighters. In 2020 alone, I'm sure I had, I don't know, at least 20 ish all nighters. And just like probably very unproductive, like playing video games and stuff like that. And like, not having very clear boundaries or having boundaries that are like so easy to move, like a gate that's always so easy to move, like that's not good. But like the gates that are like so closed and it's like this gate is not opening until X happens. I mean, it's really hard to do that to yourself sometimes, but like a lot of times that discipline equals your freedom. I mean, that's the thing from I think it's Jocko Willink, like discipline equals freedom. I mean, that's totally true. And yeah, like if I wanted to work on homework, there just wasn't really clear boundaries sometimes. It's like, oh yeah, I could play Smash Bros. Now, or I could do this now. There just wasn't very clear boundaries. And especially in the last couple semesters, something I've gotten a lot better at, it's like, okay, I'm going to get this done by this date, and I'm not going to work on it again. And I'm just going to get it done and send it through and push forward and not worry about it. But if you have your boundaries so open and just being like, oh yeah, I'm down to do whatever, whenever, it's easy for that to get exploited, to sleep in, stuff like that. So yeah, boundaries. I'm gonna have a fuller episode coming out on boundaries because I was planning on doing it towards the end of 2021, but it did not happen. So I'm gonna now I've had more time to ponder the subject. I'm sure I'll have even better insights. So it'll be good. But yeah, that's boundaries. I could have had better boundaries of when I was doing certain things and not doing other things. Finally, we have optimizing for battery life. If you listen to episode number 5, I talk about 3 different tips for improving your battery life in life and just taking care of it. And this is something that I really felt with this particular semester, was just feeling burned out sometimes and feeling like I just was just kind of struggling a bit. And I think this is something that I could have done a lot better, is like when I am feeling drained, that is the time I run for Smash Bros. Or I run for scriptures or something. That's not the time when I lay down. That's not the time when I lay down on my floor randomly. My Tim took so many pictures of me falling asleep on the couch. It happened multiple times. I try to have like this, oh, I'm a hero. I'm going to work on my podcast super late and then do homework after that. And I pass out on the couch. And obviously that wasn't optimizing for battery life. You want to spend a lot of time on the charger, but not too much, because if you're on the charger too much, like, that's all you're doing is charging. But you need to actually prepare, and or you have to actually jump into battle. Like if all you're doing is preparing for battle, like that's great and all, but like you got to be fighting too. I've seen that many times of like RPGs and some other games like Pokemon. Like you can spend so much time and turns in the game, like building yourself up and stuff. But if you're not making some moves and making some attacks here and there, and you leave yourself wide open, you can get destroyed sometimes. You have to be very careful of that, deciding when to attack, when not to attack. And all this kind of goes back to optimizing your battery life because all of your thoughts, all of the things on your mind, all of your to-do list items, I mean all that stuff is taxing on your brain. You have thousands of processes that are going on in your brain at the same time. All these things I've read and stuff are just culminating and dancing around and jumping around in my mind right now. It's insane. It's a mind-blowing thing. But, if I'm not taking care of that, if I'm just kind of stuffing my brain of random LinkedIn scrolling stuff nonsense, it's gonna be really hard for me to have clarity. When I don't have those boundaries and I just jump on LinkedIn out of nowhere, I jump on Facebook out of nowhere, or I just start watching random YouTube videos, it's gonna lead to this deluge, this like fogginess of brain, and it's gonna wear down my battery life more. It's just like with life. It's just like with your phone. If you're trying to like play Angry Birds while uploading a video to YouTube, while listening to music, while talking with your grandma, bro, it's going to wear down your battery life quicker. And I think this makes so much sense because people say all the time, like, do one thing, focus on one thing till success. And that's something that John Lee Dumas says all the time, follow one course to success. That's success, or that's focus, is follow one course until success. And I think that's extremely true. But there was the times this semester where I was trying to do it all. I was trying to do so much at once, trying to plan out podcast stuff while doing other stuff. And I think I did pretty good, but there's other semesters where I definitely did a much better job of like blocking that off and just being like, I'm only going to work on these couple things. Like there's some things like I've learned recently and just over and over again I've learned them. Like for one thing, like watching a show while scrolling on my phone, like that's a big complete waste of time. Like I'm not really devoting myself to either one. I don't know. That's just me though. I like to be all in on whatever it is I'm doing, so my laser can fully focus. You know. Yeah, I like that. That's nice. So yeah, optimizing for battery life, definitely something I could have done better. Just keeping track of all the processes. I think I could have done a better job of just checking in with myself sometimes, just doing little timeouts. I hadn't really come up with the timeout concept thingy that I try to do now here and there. I didn't really do that. Sometimes I just would have these little tiny meltdown moments and then I'd just get back to it. And I had fantastic roommates. Like they make me dinner. I mean, they were so fantastic. And we just hang out and it was awesome. It's so uplifting, conversations, all that jazz. It really was so good. But sometimes my battery life was just kind of struggling and I didn't really consider how can I make this battery life better, right now, how can I improve it? I mean, lately, after Valentine's Day, I literally just like had all kinds of stuff and I was like, you know what? Like recently, like last night was Valentine's Day night. After hanging out, I just like last night was like recently last night was Valentine's Day night. I After spending some time with Bella, I recently I've started taking hot baths every Friday and I've just been doing that for around a semester or so, and that's been super good. That's been super encouraging, super helpful. Just doing little stuff like that really helps me recharge my batteries, helps me process things. So making time for that is super huge. And sometimes I just kind of assumed, with this particular semester, fall 2019, I would just be like, okay, as long as I was just doing things. And sometimes I wouldn't just like go on an adventure to go on an adventure. I just kind of do things. So that's pretty much my thoughts on that. Obviously, so yeah, optimizing for battery life definitely was a struggle and something I'm still improving and figuring out too. So those are my three fourth semester struggles. We're gonna get the fifth semester struggles out in the next week or so. Planning to get them all out by the time I graduate on April 8th. So that's the goal. again, those things were bridling my passion so I could be filled with more love and help out myself more. Having clear boundaries of when to do things, when not to do things, just to help me get better, focus and just treat myself more like a CEO of my life and stuff. And then finally, optimizing for battery life, not running so many processes in the background, expecting to do it all, and burning myself out, not doing that. So that's it. Thank you so much for listening. As always, definitely follow at Yield to DF Down podcast on Instagram. Check it out on YouTube. I am starting to reboot the YouTube again, getting the fire back. It's really good to get a podcast episode done before I really have to record it. This being recorded in advance, so that's hype. And yeah, I'm just thankful for all of your support over the years. Shout out to everyone. You guys are great. Definitely hit me up if you'd like to talk sometime, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you so much again, and I'll talk to you later. Don't forget to yield today, and it'll be a better tomorrow. Tomorrow. Just kidding.